Hello and welcome back to the Icelandic Roundup. My name is Josie Anne Gaitens. I'm culture editor at Reykjavík Grapevine and I'm joined by...
Valur Grettisson, and I am the editor-in-chief at the Reykjavík Grapevine. And I'm a Leo, if you want to know that also.
We didn't, but thank you. It is Monday. This is going out on Tuesday, of course, and it's the 2nd of May. Happy new month. What are we going to talk about this time, Valur?
Well, let's start with lavacarrental.is. Have you heard about them?
I don't think so. Maybe you can tell me about them.
They are wonderful car rental. If you're traveling around Iceland, you want to do it with style and also like the lava car rental. I mean, how can you not just rent that, right?
They're pretty good, and as well as doing cars that are suitable for all road conditions in Iceland, they also do campers.
Yes.
So that's pretty good.
Which is essential, actually.
And our other sponsor this week is Lava Centre. This is a technology museum centre in the south of Iceland. We've been there a few times.
And they have the coolest feature I've ever seen. They have like a plate, like an iron plate or something, and you can stand on it and you can feel how like an earthquake up to 3 in magnitude is. And it's like it shakes you all, and it's very realistic, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit, brings back flashbacks from when just before the volcano was going off last time, but it's a lot of fun, and especially if you have kids, it's not one to be missed.
Exactly.
So, thank you very much to them for sponsoring us, but it's time to get to the news. What's going on?
The first news perhaps is perhaps not the biggest one, but it's really interesting when it comes to everything, which is a Georgian committee is now in Iceland. They're here to talk to politicians and state officials, and they haven't been here before, at least for the last 30 years, which we have had our diplomatic relationship with them. And for those who don't know, Georgia is, of course, it's on the absolute other side of Europe, basically. It's next to Ukraine. Ukraine is what you could say like a buffer state between Russia and Georgia. Ukraine is literally a buffer state for everyone and Russia right now. And of course, it's famous that the Russians, they invaded Georgia in 2008, took some of the land and still actually holds it.
Yeah, so this was like the last major conflict that Russia was involved in before the
Crimea in 2014, exactly. Of course.
Yeah.
But the thing is, of course, the Georgians are not much fans of the Russians, like probably the whole Europe right now. And they're here because they want Icelanders to support them to join NATO. Mm-hmm. And this is interesting because trying to join NATO for these countries seems to have dire consequences.
Yeah, I mean... There's a lot of talk about joining NATO for multiple countries at the moment. Obviously, we've talked about on the newscasts and stuff about Finland and Sweden looking into joining NATO, but that's quite a different situation.
Yes and no. Finland and Sweden are, of course, very strong and powerful states in itself, and part of the Nordic part of the world, which is basically the most prospective part of the world, in my opinion. But the thing is that also the Swedes and Finland, they are going to submit their application in mid of May, they think. We're not quite sure exactly when, but they have been talking about asking to like a joint... joint application, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's more of a kind of conversational process at the moment, and where they're looking at exactly what that would entail.
They haven't filed it quite yet, but they will in May, and then they are hoping that they will have an answer in the end of the summer. And of course, Russia has threatened the Finland, and saying that it will have dire consequences. But right now, it feels like Russia is not in any position to threaten Finland, which is a very powerful state in many ways. Mm-hmm. And they also fought war with them, of course, in 1939 in the Winter War. But the Georgians, they are not as big. They are a bit smaller country in some ways. And what Icelanders perhaps we feel like is a very distant nation, both culturally as well as just as literally in distance.
Yeah. But this marks the 30th anniversary of the country's political union.
Yeah, right.
So this is Georgia's newly appointed ambassador to Iceland, who's come here to sort of celebrate this and to look for continued support.
He's a part actually of the Georgian parliament, and he's the chairman of this Foreign Affairs Committee there in that country in Georgia, and he's of course his name is Nikolaos Samkaradze.
I like it when you say things on the podcast that are probably pronounced wrong. That makes a nice change from when I do it.
It's a hard one, but the thing is, of course, that Icelanders have historically, we have been very supportive to the Baltic nations around, which is around, of course, Russia. For example, we in 1991 we were I think we were literally the first one actually to admit the independence of Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, and so on. So this is, of course, Icelanders have been very we like smaller countries that aren't independent, and we try to support them because it's not that long ago since we were in exactly the same position, and it was very, very important for us to have that recognition as well, of course.
Absolutely.
At the time.
It's kind of sentimental to a certain extent, but there's certainly the need at the moment. I think a lot of countries that are that border with Russia are looking to the rest of the world for backing, basically.
Exactly. And it's not an easy task either, because NATO, of course, you have to have, there are strong rules about who can join and so on, and in what position you need to be. This is similar to EU in some ways. But in this case, for example, you can't be actively in a dispute with your neighbors, actually.
Yeah.
Which is, and Russians have been a little bit smart about this, because they are so aggressive that they, for example, Ukraine, of course, wanted to go into NATO, but they were always denied because they were always, the Crimea was always on the table. You obviously have a dispute with your neighbors.
Yeah.
The Georgians is the same, and so on. This is, I imagine, though, this is a rule that can easily be changed at some council meeting at the NATO. I mean,
yeah, I think in the light of the current situation, they're going to have to take that into account when they're making these decisions. But I mean, who knows? It's clearly a delicate diplomatic situation at the moment.
And of course, Icelanders are, let's just say we're on the blacklist.
This is exciting.
Yeah, for many reasons. The Russians are, although we are one of few countries actually that have not, driven the Russian diplomats in Iceland away.
No.
I think we're the only one of the Scandinavian countries. And if you're actually hearing someone sawing in the background, well, we're in Reykjavík downtown, and there's a lot of sound going on. So we apologize for that. We are hoping that this will be temporarily, but I don't know what to say.
Yeah, there's a lot of construction. But anyway, back to Blacklists.
The Blacklist. There are 9 people, Icelandic people actually, that will be on a specific blacklist. And the Russian embassy, they actually announced this. And what's interesting here is that it needs to go through the Duma, which is the Russian parliament, and when it will be passed there, these names, and that they are on the ban list, that means that 9 Icelanders, and we are talking about politicians, people from the media, the business life. Influencers even, who knows?
Yeah, they said culture and media representatives, so who knows what that means, really.
Exactly. But here's the thing, because Icelanders, if you would tell an Icelander, you're on the blacklist, you can't go to Russia, Icelanders will probably be pretty proud of that.
Yeah, it'd be like a badge of honor, basically.
Exactly. And the thing is that... and probably for that reason, they haven't actually released these names. And I'm not sure if they ever will.
Yeah, basically they don't want to make people proud of this. But we're pretty excited because there's nothing to say that we're not on the list.
Exactly. I told my girlfriend about this yesterday. I bet I'm on this list. I mean, what news are they actually watching? They're probably, we are the only window outside of Iceland in English, more or less.
Yeah.
But she laughed and said, I can think of 10 other people before you.
Yeah, I think that's just inflating your ego. But I think the thing that's really interesting to me is that there's 9 Icelanders, 16 Norwegians, 3 Greenlanders, and 3 Faroese.
Right.
Who in the Faroes is pissing off the Russians, basically.
Or Greenland. I'm betting it's the Prime Minister.
Probably.
It's not, of course, called the Prime Minister, I think.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's weird, and it shows somehow how they are. It's an absolute dead end for the Russian in some ways. How their political. I mean, they're following rules and tactics that were perhaps shocking in 1985 or something.
Yeah.
But this is obviously absolutely pointless today.
I mean, yeah, and then there's kind of been a cursory response from the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Iceland, just to say that this does not affect the Icelandic government's policy. But no. I mean, as if it would really at this point.
Even our Foreign Minister Þórdís Kolbrún, she says that if she's on the list, she would just be absolutely fine with it, and this would not change anything. My only question is, for example, we actually talked about this in our newscast the other day about the Kyiv Square or Kænugarðstorg. I know it sounds like a mouthful, but it's not really. But the thing is that the Russian embassy, they sent out this just really snarky, odd statement that they said that there was, in Russia, they have a train station called Kyiv and so on and so on. And there are a lot of places called by Ukrainian names in Russia. It didn't really matter or something.
Yeah, they're just kind of you can't bother us.
Yeah, a little bit. They were missing the point altogether here.
Yeah.
So it was, and I thought with myself, why just haven't they literally just sent them away like all other countries?
Well, there's arguments for and against that. And obviously,
Sure.
Iceland it perhaps doesn't have the same kind of diplomatic power as other countries, but
True.
there is an argument in the fact that if you close the door to diplomacy, the only other option is warfare. So as
true.
much as Iceland is this tiny country in the middle of nowhere, it is also very strategically important, as we've seen in other world conflicts.
Yeah.
And so there's possibly a reason why they might be hedging their bets here a little bit, or at least trying to keep the door open for dialogue.
Yeah. Well,
But
also
this is why
Iceland
you're not in charge.
Yeah, well, Iceland is also historically have always been quite diplomatic in their foreign affairs. So we are not that keen on closing all doors. And some would say that we're lacking principles, but others say that we're just keeping everything open. Often.
Yeah, I see it as we're like the guys in the playground when the fight starts to break out, just kind of being like, it's okay, guys, let's just talk about it,
Yeah,
but,
although that moment has obviously passed when it comes to the Russians.
They don't want to talk anymore.
And then to the last story of the day, which this is
a weird one.
I don't know where to start here, but Icelanders are, as I said, quite much of a practical people, most often. But we have this oddest hippie wars. Is it too strong, perhaps? It is what it is, right?
It's really escalated, that's for sure.
Yeah. Let's just start with, perhaps tell us how we got to where we are. Right.
So... was it maybe a week ago? There was an event up on Facebook that was advertising a kind of new age festival. There was a lot of very hippie language in the wording of this event, but it basically seemed to suggest that there was going to be this festival, this event, and people of all ages were invited, including young children, and it was all about celebrating all forms of love. And that involved, it said in the event description, tantric love as part of this. Now, this has obviously caused a lot of concern. There was also a suggestion that there might be illegal drugs consumed.
Yeah. And just to make it completely clear, in this event, as it was published on social media, they were talking about that children will be there in this tantra kind of whatever this was.
Yes, that it was for families, for all ages, that children were invited, and that there was, that it was celebrating all of these different forms of love. And this event was taking place in a farm just outside of on the kind of outskirts of Reykjavik, basically.
Yeah. It's actually called skrauthólar, and skraut is like decoration, like a hill of decoration. It's also like when you're very colorful. That is actually a word for it.
It's a place it's kind of known for being a kind of a hippie place. It runs a lot of events, cacao ceremonies, things like this. The people that are involved in it are quite well known. But this in particular, as well as causing a lot of concern, then opened up to sort of reveal that there was a lot of conflict going on between this farm and the surrounding farms, the neighbours of the people who were living there.
And even further, I mean, the thing is that the neighbours, of course, they are horse farmers, and the man is like he's the chairman of the Association of Horse Farmers in Iceland, actually.
Yeah, the Icelandic Equestrian Association, it's called in English.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is that they say that son of theirs, which is a child, that he saw this naked man roaming around there in what God knows what if he drank, how much cacao he drank. I don't know. And they have also there was a man that knocked on the door like. Well, he wasn't naked, but he was not very well dressed for weather and decency. Now, Icelanders are perhaps like we shower naked together and so on, and we're not that annoyed by it. But I'm guessing that the text, the context here really matters when it comes to it. Like naked guys on mushrooms roaming around in your backyard, not the situation that you really want to be in. And this, of course, escalated, and there was like a meeting even, like between the local shaman, should we call it that?
Yeah,
the local witch. The local something, the local hippie.
Yes.
She actually and she is like I don't know, like pretty well known in this world.
Yeah, the woman who owns and runs this farm basically and runs the events there.
And she said that she actually sat down with the farmers and she, I don't know what happened there, but we understood that the case was settled from there on. And these were like at the beginning, these news we were seeing them like in the like the street papers, like in Iceland. Like this was not in the big media at the time.
It was all over Twitter and stuff like that, but it wasn't kind of it wasn't hitting the news. Right. It was like local gossip.
Right, but then all of a sudden there was a huge shift in this when they found in English this is called voodoo pole. This is not a very good translation actually for this. We call it níðstöng, or the pole of shame. That's what it literally means. And what the pole of shame is that you take a severed horse head, you put it on a stick, and then you have to actually call upon the spirits from all of the quarters of Iceland and tell them to. And you're basically cursing someone with this. And this is a serious thing, a very old custom that we have actually documented, like in the saga of Egill, like the old Icelandic sagas. And this is heavy-duty stuff.
Yeah, so this weekend, someone erected this voodoo pole, this horse's head. And what's really important about this is the direction the horse is facing, right?
Yeah.
Where the curse is directed to.
Yes.
And that is now what is up for debate, because the person who runs the farm thinks it's directed towards her and the activities at the hippie farm, whereas the neighbours, the owners of the horses, think that it's directed at them, and they're very upset about this. So they've confirmed that it's not one of their horses; it's nothing to do with them.
Nobody actually knows where this horse head came from, to be honest. I mean, and the thing is that the news has been kept. This keeps on giving somehow. One of the stories said that some anonymous source contacted the farmers. I'm guessing it was the the pulp here, and that person explained that this was a curse not meant for them, but for the hippies. Now, the hippie, she actually, or the shaman, or the witch of Skrauthólar, she said that she has one woman actually under. She suspects another witch to have done this. That woman is known as Völvan, or the seeress.
Yeah.
And Völva is a very old word for seeress in Icelandic. And she has some followers, and this shaman says that she is like susceptible for into the, like, she's into the dark powers, and then we have definitely like our viewers have seen, of course, we have a very rich history we haven't even showed that yet. We have an upcoming show, of course, with about warlocks and witches in Iceland, of course.
Yes, as part of the Supernatural Iceland series. But this curse technique, if you can call it that, has been used. It's even been used against Parliament. It has like a long history in Iceland,
and it can be done differently. For example, sailors did this once, and they used like a head of a cod and to shame both Parliament as well as the owners of the ships and so on.
Slightly less impactful than a horse, I'm going to say.
And we have used sheep's head and so on.
Yeah.
But horse head is the right way to do it, though.
But there's a lot of things that are still not clear about this. I mean, first of all, who was this directed to? Who was it done by? But also, there's another element, which is that there's supposedly some kind of poem or curse written down inside the mouth of the horse, and this is part of the. As a part,
you have to have the curse somewhere. You can to speak it, but it's not on like. This is like a very old verse that you have to go with, and you can write it down. But this was not actually that. They said that this was some incomprehensible poem that nobody understood.
But it's not been published, so nobody actually knows what it says. So it's certainly escalated matters hugely, and it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes from here. I don't know how you then interact with your neighbours.
There are so many questions. This is like, first of all, they're using, obviously, they're going through these cacao ceremonies. I was trying to get some answers from Josie, like, what is this? And I thought this was more like ayahuasca or just some kind of an acid kind of trip, but it just seems to be really bad hot chocolate. I don't know.
I mean, certainly I'm maybe not the person to ask there, but it's not for me, is what I'm going to say. But it is an interesting one, because there's as I was saying earlier to you, Valur, there's kind of three things here. There's the real concern when it came to this event that they were running, that does seem to have some elements in it which are real cause for concern. What were they planning? What were they thinking? And why was that being allowed to take place?
And also, just to shoot it in, is that it's not necessarily illegal, actually, to have these poles of shame with horse head. There is actually a official government body that inspected it if the horse was some ways, like, there are laws about like how to not execute animals. Slaughter animals. And they said there is nothing that shows any evidence of that this horse was taken, like was stolen or suffered before. So there is nothing actually like clearly illegal here.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like, so there's the kind of the cause for concern in terms of the original event that they were running, that does seem to be concerning. There's also the fact that there's obviously conflict between these neighbours, and there's unhappy parties here. But there is also the fact that Icelanders can be quite intolerant to people that they perceive as weird or different. And this is something that Linda, who's the woman who runs the farm, has raised in her Facebook posts, where she has said that she is essentially a person who lives differently and does things differently, and she feels like she is being basically attacked for this. So
this is very true. This is like an Islander thing also.
Yes.
And Icelanders tend to be like, they expect you to be in the same like mold as everyone else. But this is obviously, I mean, we also have though tolerance up to a level. I mean, I think the moment that you start bothering other people, this can be quite ugly quite quickly.
Absolutely.
And that seems to have been the first mistakes that have happened here, is that this is something that the farmers are, they don't like this, but it didn't become a thing until this, what do you call it, like this social media poster came up, and then she seemed to have unleashed something, some bad powers, the dark powers.
The dark powers. So we'll see if there's any more horses' heads directed to either these people or to us. We'll let you know. Maybe that's how Russia's going to announce the 9 blacklisted people. We'll just
you will
wake
up with a horse head in front of your lawn. I would love that.
Icelandic Godfather. Yeah. But how about the weather and the roads?
Yes, let me start with the roads. Still potholes.
Oh my goodness.
Just to clear that up. There are still a lot of potholes all around. Don't drive into it. It can be dangerous. And for the workers that are actually fixing that, hurry up. We're getting quite tired of this. Also, there's black ice at Fjarðarheiði in the east of Iceland. And additionally, reindeers are around. They can actually in this time be around the streets, so you need to just see and check. They, of course, are quite quick on their feet and not on the roads like always. But
you definitely don't want to hit one, though.
You don't want to hit it. As simple as that.
You think it's because of the reindeer, but it's actually because of you in your car.
Yeah. And also in the highlands, due to thawing conditions, all traffic is prohibited on some of the highland routes. You can see where they are, just go to Iceland roads, like hashtag Iceland roads on Twitter. It's probably the best way to see the conditions there. But to be fair, just don't go to the highlands if you're a tourist right now. It's the roads are not the best conditions, unless you are very, very trained outdoor kind of a type and you really like to get your car stuck somewhere in the mud.
Yeah, wonderful. Love it.
Yeah, right.
As for weather, it's getting colder again, which is a shame because it's just started to feel like spring.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday, we've got east and northeast winds, 5 to 13 meters per second, and rain or sleet. Not fun. Northeast 8 to 15 meters per second in the northwest by the afternoon, and snow or sleet in Strandir. Sorry, Strandir, you're still in winter.
Still in winter, yeah.
Temperatures between 1 and 6 degrees in the north during the day, but 3 to 8 degrees in the south, so still a little bit better here. Temperature near freezing overnight. Wednesday, we've got northerly or variable wind, 5 to 13 meters per second, light snow showers in the northern part and some rain showers in the southeast, but otherwise cloudy, mostly dry. Temperature 0 to 10 degrees. That's quite a range.
Oh, that's fine.
During the daytime, mildest in the south. Thursday, again, variable and later westerly winds. Rain or sleet in the east part, sleet or snow in the northeast. Elsewhere, rain showers and snow showers. Cool weather in general. Going into the weekend, on Friday, we'll have a westerly wind and some snow showers, but mainly dry in the southeast and east. Frost in the morning, 0 to 5 degrees. Temperatures raising to 5 degrees in the afternoon. And on Saturday, it's going to start to get warmer. Southeast wind and some rain, but dry in the east part. And for all other weather conditions going forward, go to veður.is.
And basically, it is a bit cold, and early in the day, it's going to be like black ice a little on the streets, possibly. But it's just dress well. Go into your 66 degrees north jacket. Don't bother taking an umbrella with you.
It's going to be a bit windy, yeah.
Always going to be embarrassing for everyone. But yeah, that's it for the podcast. The Icelandic Roundup.
Once again, thank you very much to our sponsors. And please, our request to you is, if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast app you're on, please take a moment to rate and review. It really helps other people find the podcast.
And also, if you're actually watching this, we see you. You can, of course, if you want to see this, you can find this on YouTube as well as our homepage later this week. Our members will probably see it the first.
Yep.
So if you're really in a hurry, you can, of course, and you really want to see this visually,
because we look great, by the way.
We look well. You do.
Thanks.
I don't know about myself, but I was actually thinking, but like, yes, podcast. I don't have to think anything.
I know.
But yeah.
And we film it. What a nightmare.
So you can join us in our membership, of course, on YouTube and see it there, of course, if you want it like that.
Yeah.
Some do.
Please do. Yeah. But that's it for us.
Yes.
We're going to go and make a newspaper. It's print week.
Yes.
Coming out this Friday. New edition of the Reykjavík Grapevine. And until then, we'll see you next week.
Yes. Goodbye.